people with this weird and destructive instinct, that's what it is. It's not a conspiracy, it's an instinct, have taken over all the levers of power. And I think it's like a spiritual force. That's my personal view. I can't prove it, but I really believe it. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. But that's what I perceive. And
well, that's what I think it is too.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing anymore makes any damn sense. I'm convinced that when we die, we will see that everything that we know or think we know is a lie.
I totally agree. Yeah. Well, I know that that's true. I can tell you how I know, but I do know that when we die, we'll know. It'll all make sense. I know that for whatever it's worth. So, sorry. But yes, that is absolutely true. When we die, and I was talking to a friend of mine recently who was like a new friend of mine, but I really love, that's the cool thing about this moment is like you're meeting all these people who are so deep and honest. It's like, it's wonderful. It almost makes up for everything sad. But I was talking to someone recently and he said to me, he goes, I'm not excited to die. I've got all these kids or whatever. No one wants to die, but I'm kind of psyched to like understand what all this is.
I've had this conversation several times. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that way.
You do?
Totally. I'm not looking forward to death at all. I happen not to be afraid of it.
You want the answers. I
do.
know what makes sense.
Yeah, and I know as a dead certain fact that awaits. So,
do you think that the kind of pushing us into Civil War scenario, do you think that is to distract us, or do you think that's to dismantle the entire United States, or both?
Again, I don't know that anyone anywhere. I was with Klaus Schwab this winter.
You were with Klaus Schwab?
I was just trying to casually drop that, Sean. I was with Klaus Schwab. As Klaus Schwab said to me. No, I spoke at an event in the Middle East he was at, and whatever, I don't know Klaus Schwab, but I got to see him up close, and he's like an idiot. He's like an elderly idiot. Seems a little senile, like doesn't have any idea what he's talking about at all. He's totally unimpressive. And it was just another reminder that the closer you get, like a Toria Nuland, for example, who basically started the current war in Ukraine. She's like this kind of sad, fat, dumb girl, actually. And so the closer you get, the more you realize that the people running things are like mediocre. They're buffoons. They have no idea what they're doing. Tony Blinken, I mean, really? Anyway, no, I don't think there's like a conspiracy. I doubt they're smart enough to like articulate it and write it down or anything like that. But it's just like, again, they're weak people. They're motivated by rage and envy. They're not the people who built the current society that we live in. Anything worth having, they did not build, from our beautiful train stations to our power grid, to any of our infrastructure, to Harvard University, to our legal code, to anything that's great about America. They didn't, protect the national parks. They had nothing to do with Yellowstone. Like they didn't create anything, and they're not capable of it. And they're mad about it. And they're mad in the way that primitive, envious people are mad. They don't celebrate beauty, they destroy beauty. You see this a lot. It's one of the main motivators of evil, in my view. And they just want to tear it down. They're mad about it. Like, they couldn't have done that. Dead white men. Okay. Who created our entire society. Like everything, all our founding documents, everything. And they hate them most. Why do they hate them, actually? Why would you be mad? Why are you mad at James Madison? Like, he's long gone. Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. Okay. Unlike Muhammad, or whatever. They come up with these pretexts to justify their hate, but really it's just envy. Because they're not capable people. They have no skills. Like Tony Blinken?
Yeah.
Like Tony Blinken couldn't change a tire on your truck. Like, he's a fucking idiot. Like, actually. It's not a surprise that he's mismanaged the world. He's out there like playing guitar in Kiev, which he calls Kyiv, because he's just he's like a child. They all are. And they're mad about the fact that they're fraudulent and weak and helpless, actually. Supply chain breaks down. They all starve to death. Like, they know that. And they're mad about it. And so they want to wreck the things that others built. This is like the oldest story there is.
Do you think that's what it is?
Of course. It's why the Vandals sacked Rome. Of course. You built this great. It's why people spray graffiti on beautiful buildings in New York City. You didn't build this. Neither did your ancestors. You're a fucking moron. You couldn't build anything. So you tear it down. Of course. It's the oldest impulse there is. Vandalism. It's all vandalism.
Man.
And vandalism is committed by vandals. And vandals are by definition primitive. And they may have gone to HBS. They may be rich, but they're still primitives, actually. They're not capable of any of this. That's why, and they have no appreciation for beauty at all. They hate beauty. It's the first thing. And look at their architecture. It tells you they hate beauty. Look at their modern art. It's anti-beauty. It's ugly on purpose because they don't have the ability to create something beautiful because they're totally non-creative, actually. And non-creative people are hostile to beauty. Creative people love beauty. Of course, it's what they strive to create themselves. Just like self-made people are not afraid of going bankrupt because they can build it again. You're an entirely self-made person. If someone took away the studio, you'd be like, build another one. Because you would, because you know you have that power. Inherited money people who've created nothing, they're living off the creation of others, are terrified of losing anything because they know they can't replace it. So our leadership class...
That's a fucking great point.
Our leadership class is basically, we're at the inherited money stage of empire, where we're all living on the labor of people who are long dead, and we know we can't recreate it. We could not create our power grid right now. We don't have enough engineers to do that. And so all of these fantasies will soon crash and burn, and I would include EVs and AI and all the other energy-devouring acronyms that we're now in love with. All of those need to be powered by electricity, and our current grid can't do it, not even close to do it. Like, I'm not good at math, but even I know that.
Yeah.
And so at some point, someone is going to need to move from the world of the theoretical, AI, EVs, all these stupid ideas, their stupid justifications, climate change, whatever they are, going to need to move to like the field of like physical engineering. How do we create enough electricity? How do these competing imperatives of like stopping climate change, we can control the weather because we're God. How does that mesh with the idea that none of us are ever going to have to work again because computers will make the decisions for us, AI? Well, they're going to need like practical answers. And this class of people who run our country are totally incapable of coming up with those answers because they have no skills. And that's why they're destroying it. I mean, it's so obvious what's happening. And because history is the same story. Anyway.
Man. Do you think we're going into World War III?
We're really close to it, as you know. So really, really, really close. The fact that anyone would even consider getting within 1,000 miles of fucking around with a nuclear exchange just shows you that the core impulse here is suicide. That's what all of this is. And that's why I personally think it's spiritual. I think the word demonic is suddenly being overused. It's everywhere because it's real. But yeah, if you see a human movement that's anti-human, the push toward nuclear war for its own sake is by definition anti-human, I would say. AI is anti-human by definition. Mm-hmm. Transgenderism is anti-human by definition. Transhumanism is anti-human. Do people act against their own long-term interests? Probably not, actually. So it's probably not human. I mean, I'm like looking at this like very autistically, very simply, trying to reduce it to its most basic elements. And like any movement that's anti-human is probably not human, is it?